Salutare, salutare, știu că vă era dor de el. Hei, History Legends, încă un videoclip despre acel orășel neimportant, insignifiant și fără nicio valoare strategică pe numele lui Bahmut. Este așa pentru că rușii îl ocupă și atunci îl eliberează, da? Rămâne între noi, da? Și atunci desigur nu are nicio valoare și alea, da? Dar hai să-i dăm cezarului ce e al cezarului, să-l facem mare pe ecran și să continuăm în formatul ăsta.
Sources on both sides claim that the heaviest fighting ever seen in Bakhmut is now taking place in and around this train station. There's a massive fog of war in this area. Elite assault squads from both sides attack and counterattack each other every hour. Welcome my friends, and today marks my 12th video on the epic battle of Bakhmut. Now
Bahmut, acest Stalingrad 2.
before we take a look at the map, check out this interview from a few days ago by General Krivonos of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
З моєї точки зору, я ще на початку лютого чітко сказав, що нема сенсу тримати Бахмут.
What did
I told
tell you?
Told
Isn't
you.
it a coincidence
Hey,
that
e la trecut. Told, nu tell.
I posted a video on the 11th of February titled Zelensky, have pity on your man. It's time to pull out. Look at
Zelensky, ai milă de oamenii tăi, e timpul să te retragi din Bahmut.
the map behind me. Save your army. It's not
Save
too late
your
to
army.
let them retreat in good order.
Nu e
Thousands
prea
of proud
târziu.
Ukrainian soldiers are waiting for your command. Enough said. 2 months after
Oamenii tăi așteaptă doar să dai ordinul de retragere, hei!
this video, my theory was confirmed by a general of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Welcome to History Legends, and here are the latest news of the Russo-Ukrainian War. Remember that if you're new to this channel, make sure to like and subscribe. And as
Vă rog același lucru, dacă sunteți noi pe canalul Noaptea Minții, vă rog să vă abonați. Nu uitați nici de like.
you know, just like with many other commentators, some of my Ukraine videos have been targeted with limited or no ads. So make sure to
Da, aici trebuie să vă explic că History Legends pune multe secvențe de război și chiar dacă acestea sunt în scop informativ sau chiar educațional, YouTube demonetizează, așadar o să vă rog și eu pe voi să verificați descrierea acestui videoclip în eventualitatea în care veți dori să mă susțineți ca membri ai canalului sau chiar pe Patreon, de ce nu?
check out my Patreon or PayPal to keep the show running.
Keep the
Thank
show
you
running.
to everyone that has already helped, and welcome
Și
to the
multe
headquarters.
mulțumiri. Despre ce vă spuneam? Exact.
Truth is, in these first days of the month of April, fighting conditions were at their worst. In this video from the 5th of April, the snow is melting. It is now
ce
turning
acolo.
into a mix of mud and
Bleh.
cold water that is filling up the trenches. Here's another video from
Mocirlă.
the perspective of Ukrainian medics coming to pick up a wounded soldier. Alright boys, what is happening in Bakhmut?
Deci e clar că nu e caz de contraofensivă ucraineană pe mocirleala aia.
But this was the front line on the 12th of March, so roughly a month ago. And this
Și?
is the front line now. As you can see, the
se
situation
întâmplă.
has drastically evolved.
Am chițăit eu. Nu-i frumos, vă rog, iertați-mă.
In favor of Russian forces. So this is what we'll take a look at today. As the urban battle was raging, the Ukrainians sent a lot of reinforcements to hold the flanks of the Bakhmut garrison in order to prevent an encirclement. Like these fighters of the Georgian Legion, you see them fire using machine guns and a variety of small arms, as well as firing an 84 unguided man-portable disposable anti-tank weapon. In mid-March, it seems that Wagner had assembled 2 large strike formations meant to break through Ukrainian lines using Soviet deep battle doctrine, but on a tactical level, on a smaller scale. Essentially, attack all along the front, with huge reserves ready at the rear. The moment one enemy position is giving in, reserve units concentrate towards this Schwerpunkt to breach the first line of defense. and then exploit the entire network of enemy defenses.
Deci ați înțeles, când ruși Wagner, hei, orchestra, găsește un punct slab, atacă, au rezerve în spate și dacă reușesc să străpungă apărarea inamică, hop, vin și rezervele să consolideze situația.
Which is significantly different from the typical encirclement maneuver that we talked a lot about. And using this deep battle doctrine, the musicians broke through in the center of this Ukrainian line of defense and fully controlled.
Deci asta este explicația de ce rușii controlează, unele surse spun 80% din orașul Bahmut, nu l-au încercuit și i-au lăsat pe ea să se predea, ci chiar au intrat în oraș bloc cu bloc, stradă cu stradă.
The southern district of Bakhmut by the 24th of March. Meanwhile, they also started storming the Azam factory in the north. Then the orchestra shifted the direction of attack of its assault squads. This time they attacked right across the river, coupled with another strike coming from the south, which gave them control over the strategic city center. At this point, the Russians had breached the strongest Ukrainian line of defense, meaning that even if Ukrainian troops managed to withdraw, the speed of the breakthrough meant that every new line of defense would be weaker
and
than the previous
weaker.
one. This is when more and more Wagnerians were sent.
Da? Să aprofundăm situația. Deci, ei, ruși, cuceresc o linie de apărare, nu-i problemă, ucrainenii se retrag pe următoarea, înspre vest, da? Numai că următoarea linie de apărare este mai slabă, pentru că ei au sperat că nu vor pierde linia de apărare inițială. Și tot așa, rușii iar avansează, ucrainenii iar se trag pe următoarea linie de apărare, tot mai slabă și tot mai slabă și tot mai slabă.
Sent in as reinforcements right into the furnace. By April 1st, the Azam industrial area was under Russian control, which allowed them to start a pincer movement that could trap the Ukrainian forces east of the railway. And on April 2nd, 2023, at 11 p.m., the head of the Wagner PMC, Yevgeny Prigozhin, hoisted the Russian flag on the city.
Nu, dar acum observați o chestie, da? Prigozhin are da, să le spunem așa, și se apropie de linia de contact cu inamicul, dar la adăpostul nopții de data asta în întuneric. Se vede clar.
The administration building in Bakhmut. Notice how he did so in complete darkness, not to attract any attention on himself. Because Ukrainians must be now on high alert after his multiple PR stunts right at the front. This is the flag.
Da, deci ați înțeles că, ucrainenii s-au prins că, ăsta cam tot amușinează pe aici. Și stau cu ochii pe el, dar asta a fost mai prudent. Opa, ce steagul ăsta? Deci pe tura asta observăm că nu mai este steagul Wagner, ci este chiar steagul Federației Ruse și pe steagul ăla nu știu limba rusă, dar pot să văd faptul că este numele acelui vlogger rus ucis într-un atentat, atenție, terorist, da? De către o unitate pro-ucraineană, să-i spunem așa.
Like that Prigozhin planted. It is dedicated to fallen war reporter Vladimir Tatarsky. Вечная память от всей России. Eternal memory from all Russia. Also known.
Ne-a tradus el, da? Eternă memorie acestui vlogger care a fost de partea Rusiei până când viața ei a fost curmată de către niște teroriști pro-ucraineni.
That he did not use the Wagner flag, but the flag of Russia, which we could interpret in multiple ways. First of all, because there are rumors that Wagner units are not the only ones fighting in Bakhmut and that they're heavily supported by VDV paratroopers and even Russian Marines. Personally, I think all the rumors of all the
parașutiștii sunt unități de elită, da?
all the conflict between Prigozhin and the Russian Ministry of Defense to be either highly exaggerated or completely fake. Because Prigozhin himself said the following: the decision to conduct the Bakhmut operation, the so-called Bakhmut meat grinder, was made by the commanders of the Wagner PMC. Alright, which, by the way, coincides with what this Ukrainian general said.
Бахмут – це така м'ясорубка, в якій ми втрачаємо найкращих людей, які мали досить попередніх боїв, особливо що стосується Краматорська.
Un comandant ucrainean confirmă ceea ce spune, cum să-i spunem, propaganda rusă. Ia uite, acum și un ucrainean se alinează teoriilor putiniste, desigur.
Наступальних боїв літа осені наразі росіяни зберегли частину своїх військ, а ми втратили найкраще.
But then Prigozhin continues. Sergei Surovikin was directly involved
Generalul
in its
Armageddon.
development and implementation at the time when he led the group. And therefore, I would attribute a huge number of decisions that were made to his account. So in a way, I think that all these PR stunts pulled by Prigozhin and the Wagner PMC, all this attention they drew to themselves was perhaps planned. Prigozhin was riding straight into the battle with the Wagner flag in his hands, which in turn drew the attention of the entire world media towards Bakhmut, which in turn forced the Ukraine army to send more and more reserves because the entire planet would look at the resulting battle. And this is
Păi, tare strategia. Ăștia spun că Bakhmut este un orășel oarecare acolo, nu contează, numai că șeful Wagner, Prigozhin, tot a făcut niște videoclipuri virale care au atras atenția asupra acestui orășel neînsemnat de sigur și atunci ucrainenii au spus, bă, ce facem, ne retragem sau hai să-l apărăm, să-i dăm lui Prigozhin peste nas. Și, drept urmare, au trimis întăriri și alte rezerve acolo în acest tocător de carne, așa îi zici. Ce să-i faci?
This is where the Ukraine sort of fell in the trap.
It's a trap!
Anyway, that's my theory.
Eu
Let me know
capcan.
in the comment section what you think about it. Back to the battle. This Wagnerian grouping in the center arrived in wedge formation and kept breaking through from one position to another, which forced the Ukrainian troops to abandon their last hold on the Bakhmutka River and essentially give up this entire sector. Now a lot of this success is attributed to a good division of tasks in Wagnerian assault units, namely the 101st Self-Propelled Shovel Division, one fighter called Yaroslav.
Cum? Divizia Culopeț? Cât de tare! Deci propaganda occidentală a mirosit ea ceva, dar n-a mirosit-o până la capăt. Lasă că îi dăm acum să miroasă, ia hai să vedem.
Explained. Someone only digs, someone brings ammunition,
Sunt
someone
specializați.
shoots, and separately
Deci, cineva doar sapă, cineva doar aduce muniția, cineva trage.
storms. Meanwhile, a Ukraine soldier commented, as soon as
Specializați.
Russian troops move forward, people with
Atenție.
shovels come in from behind and dig trenches and bunkers, while others carry ammunition and hide it in holes. This is essentially Soviet infantry World War II tactics. This poor understanding of enemy tactics led to countless misleading articles and ridiculous memes about the Russian army sending its troops into battle with shovels. Now in total disarray, by the 6th of April, Ukrainian defenders lost more and more ground, and by the 9th, the Ukrainians only held a small breachhead over the railway line centered on the Bakhmut Central train station. Sources on both sides claim that the heaviest fighting ever seen in Bakhmut is now taking place in and around this train station. There is a massive fog of war in this area. Elite assault squads from both sides attack and counterattack each other every hour. There's also a lot of conflicting
Nenorocire acolo.
reports about the sector of the Avangard Stadium. There seems to
luptă
be
pe
a lot
gara,
of
da?
back and forth around the sector. According to the latest news, Zodiac Maps declares that this area is under Russian control. Although Ukrainians have counterattacked and have reached the border of the stadium, there are also many reports of Ukrainians sending in a lot of reinforcements into Bakhmut, probably to give the guys at the rear some more time to establish new defensive positions. Now let's
Da, nu, e important. O rațiune pentru a trimite întăriri în tocătorul de carne este pentru a câștiga timp, astfel încât militarii din spatele liniei frontului să aibă timp să facă alte tranșee, ok? Sau alte puncte de apărare.
Let's map out Ukrainian positions. There's this Ukrainian defensive line that runs across this railway, which will offer proper firing positions for the defenders. And since this line is centered on the train station, there's a lot of fighting going on there. Ukrainians have also fortified this train depot further north. There are also these positions in the northern part of the city, as well as multiple strongholds in the south near this MiG-17 monument. Lastly, the bulk of Ukrainian defenses are built around this area, filled with high-rise buildings. This is sort of their
High-rise buildings, adică blocuri comuniste probabil de 10 etaje.
base, where soldiers can rest and pack up on food and ammo. And this is also where they positioned a lot of their local reserves ready to intervene anywhere in the city. Here you can see how the Russians bombarded one of the buildings. The debris fell and damaged
Da?
these two
Acum înțelegem de ce bombardează rușii blocurile comuniste, pentru că sunt cuib ușor de rezerve ucrainene, ok?
Ukrainian tanks that were parked there. To give you an idea of the density of Ukrainian troops in this sector, 1 block away from the tanks, this is all the places where Ukrainian soldiers were geolocated recording videos. All these commie blocks really turn this area
Ăștia sunt pe TikTok, desigur.
almost into a fortress. These things can sustain significant damage, and there are so many firing positions and hideouts for the defenders that
O mărturie asupra trăiniciei blocurilor comuniste. Așa ceva.
each block would be extremely complicated and costly to storm. For the OGs, it's like the map Pripyat from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. As you can imagine, a frontal assault against these positions would mean a lot of casualties for Russia.
Nu se face așa
Notice
ceva.
the intensity of this Russian artillery barrage before launching assault squads to storm Ukrainian positions. So we can assume that they will try to bypass this stronghold. To this effect, it seems that Wagner PMC has already shifted its assault squads once more, specifically on both flanks. In the north, while benefiting from this high ground position here, the musicians are squeezing their way through this sector called the alleyway. If they break through, they could push along this residential sector and aim to capture this road. Even worse! It would cut this one going through Hromove, but also this little country road as well. Oh man, this is bad. Now sadly,
Ăla o fi drumul de țară pe care se face aprovizionarea și uneori retragerea strategică a eroilor,
this
desigur.
road going from Bahmut to Hromove up until Chasivyar has been nicknamed the Highway of Death. You can
Ăla
see
e,
what
ăla e autostrada morții. Yeah.
remains of a Ukrainian column driving through this road. I don't know exactly what happened, but I counted 14 to 16 burnt and abandoned vehicles. You can see one tank, one BTR-4 here, another IV there, 2 Humvees, and the rest seem to be civilian trucks. But I don't think it all happened at once, because the BTR-4 was already marked as destroyed in this video dating back from March 15th, and in this video from April 4th, which seems to be in the same place, we can see there's already more destroyed vehicles. So I think what happened
Deci epavele se adaugă de-a lungul timpului.
is that there was this column of 6-7 vehicles, a mix of civilian trucks and Humvees that cut through this area at night to leave Bakhmut. Sadly, this is where they got spotted and ambushed. Meanwhile, in the southern districts of Bakhmut, very similar strategy as
Ambuscate. Să forțăm puțin limba română.
in the north. The Wagnerian command faces multiple options. Since this area is highly sensitive to the Ukrainians, the orchestra could push north like this and essentially flank Ukrainian positions and force them to withdraw from the train station and out of this breachhead. But if they really want to hurt the Ukrainian line of defense in the Bakhmut sector, they could storm this area here near the famous MiG-17 monument, because it would put them within reach of this country road, but it could also open the gates towards a flanking maneuver and perhaps even encirclement of Ivanivsky. As you can imagine, if the Russians hold this sector here, and this one as well, the fortress here will effectively be encircled. And no matter how well fortified it is, once these guys run out of ammo,
Ammunition.
it's over. Now because of Wagner,
Da? Când rămân eroii fără muniție, luptele se termină.
is taking the bulk of Russian casualties around Bakhmut. Prigozhin held a handful of dog tags of the KA Wagner fighters and proposed that Russian businessmen should pick a dog tag at random and then take care of the family of the fallen fighter. That's all I have for you today. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of my analysis. If you're new to this channel, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to support my work, make sure to check out my Patreon and PayPal. The links are in the description below.
Același lucru vă rog și eu pe voi, nu uitați de like și vă aștept la comentarii. Și abonați-vă, bă, nu fiți zgâri.